This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary Dehart. I am the host of Accounting Insiders, and I am the publisher and managing partner of Insightful Accountant and Tax Practice News. My guest today is Val Steed, who is the Director of Accountants at Zoho. Welcome, Val.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes. Okay, it's more than a couple of minutes to hop on a call here and just let's get caught up. I know kind of in the green room, you were sharing that you have been, you were just over in India and came back here, jumped right back into the fire and got a lot going on. So for those who may not know you, which I don't know how that would be possible, you're a staple in the industry here. Share a little bit about your bio, just, what you've done from in accounting, because you are a CPA as well too, right?
Yes.
Right.
Years back when I was first going to school in accounting, I fell in love with technology. And it all started in college where I fell in love with spreadsheets and technology. I actually bought a student loan or a computer with a student loan. And that was like $7,000 worth of,
Right.
Not very much back in the day. But ever since then, and started with Deloitte, came out of university, started with Deloitte and went big on technology and have been big on accounting technology ever since. And I've been involved with probably about every major company in their efforts towards accountants and technology. Randy Johnson and I were part of the original consultants on Intuit's Pro Advisor program years ago, back with Steve Blundell, Larry Walker, many other people. We were involved with Microsoft, with the Microsoft Office accounting thing. So I've seen it. I'm a fan. I myself am an accountant, was in public practice for about 15 years and loved that. Just happened to be starting K2 at the same time and couldn't be a partner in both organizations. So I ended up picking the, technology education and consulting group over public practice at that time, but still a CPA, not in public practice, but still I'm a CPA, involved with AICPA, CITP. That was something I was involved with early on as a credential and believe in that strongly, and kind of wish that had gone a little stronger out in the marketplace, but still involved there, trying to give advice. So for me now to join one of the companies that we were doing consulting for many, many years, really this is kind of odd. So to tell you, be honest with you, joining Zoho was a bit of an odd thing for me, but it was an opportunity to help a company where I really believe in the direction and in the vision. So that's why I'm here at Zoho now.
Yeah. And you've been there, what's about 5 years now?
Coming up on
6 years?
5. Yeah, when we
Okay.
get to June. And, it's like I've been at Zoho 3 years because 2 years we lost, everybody
Right.
lost 2 years of their life, right?
That's true, right?
Yeah. And we had some really big plans and great stuff going when all that cropped up. And for everyone, that was such a tough deal for everyone to kind of get through. But the good news is we're through it now. We're starting to really roll. Oddly enough, a lot of companies like ours that were SaaS based, actually revenue grew like crazy in that period,
I bet.
with all the, work from home, work from anywhere kind of thing. So we got the bonus from that. So.
Right. And so we're a Zoho user, so I'm familiar with Zoho. For those who may not be familiar with Zoho, can you give, we'll go a little bit lower in, we'll call it a 10,000 foot view of Zoho, because Zoho's not just like one little thing. Zoho is a big beast of solutions. So can you just kind of run through that? What is Zoho?
Yeah, and the number one question we used to get, and our first goal for my team is to eliminate this question. We used to always have people say, what is a Zoho? They didn't know it was software.
Right.
You know, it's kind of fun. A little bit of the history. There's two stories to it, but let me give you the one that I like the best. And that is years ago when this company started, they went to register a domain, and they actually intended, they were early enough in the game with the internet that they intended on registering Soho, SOHO, small office, home office software, and made a mistake on the form, and it ended up being Zoho.
Oh.
And that was fortuitous because,
Right.
you know, we're not just small office, home office software, you know,
Right.
we've got many apps that go clear into enterprise. But I would say this is the thing to kind of explain to people. It's a little bit hard to get their heads around, is that we play in almost every software category that an accountant would touch other than fixed assets. So, and we don't do sales tax like Avalara, US sales tax. We partner with those guys.
Okay.
So we're in CRM. That was our first product. That was the first big one. We're in even website monitoring, building. We're in finance. You know, we have Zoho Books that competes with QuickBooks. We have Zoho Expense that competes with many other expense products in the market, and it scales up really nicely into enterprise. The advantage of what's happened in our organization is that 55 plus apps were all built internally to integrate. Now, most of the time, the integration is just seamless and great. Sometimes if it's poorly implemented, it could be like anything. You turn too many valves, you can get a mess kind of thing. But for the most part, that's who we are. We've got these apps all the way from HR to website management creation to finance to CRM to sales, you know, and it's nuts, all the different categories we're in. In fact, my brother was pinging me today asking me if our company had a password manager. Yes, we do. You know, Zoho Vault. It's free for individual users to use. So we've got some interesting things in our organization, and that's part of the reason I joined Zoho, is I believed in the vision of what they were doing along the way. And I think the best way to explain what I mean by that, one of our executives on his slide about a year ago, I saw this on one of his slides, he had about Zoho, and I like the comment. It says, Zoho, privately owned, which that's true. We're privately owned. They're never going to get venture capital money or go public or anything. This is owned by some big families in India, and this is a pride thing, Gary. I think they're going to hold on to this forever, kind of thing. But it's privately owned and publicly responsible. That part, that's what I love about Zoho. One of the key reasons I joined Zoho is we're huge on privacy. We don't share data with anyone. Our network administrators can't see your data. The only people that can see the data is you on our system. So we don't share data with Equifax. We don't compromise data in any way. We don't allow marketing bots in our software. We don't, so the privacy thing is a real big issue for us. The other thing that I truly believe in is the way that Zoho scales their software and prices it so that the really small folks, small business, small solo entrepreneurs can get it at a very, very affordable price. And then as you scale up and that business grows, that it becomes more and more expensive with the bigger companies that can afford it. And still, I don't think we ever lose on price. I think we often will lose a deal because people don't know who we are, to be honest with you.
Right.
So because it's privately owned, because they're really dedicated to privacy. And by the way, no kid on privacy. I've had a couple of projects we started getting going that were canceled because internally we've got some privacy police. That's what I call them. They're actually privacy advocates, but they will often review a marketing program we're trying to do, and they'll shut it down if they think it gets outside of the of the privacy program. So we had a big deal going with Avalara at one time a couple of years ago, and we had to shut it down the way it was, tweak it, change it, put the webcast back on our servers, and change it so that we were only sharing data with Avalara when people on the webcast actually said, yes, I want to be contacted by Avalara, kind of thing. Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, they're very serious about that. That I really appreciate. That's kind of one of the big reasons I joined these folks. I also believe in where they're going. We don't have the world's best everything software yet, but these folks are terribly committed to the long game. So, given time, we hope to have the very best application integrated in our giant suite of apps in every possible category. And proof of that pudding is some of the enhancements we're throwing out now for the finance area for Zoho Books. So,
okay. So around so you're primarily focused in accounting. So
right.
what are you trying to accomplish in accounting?
Yeah, and our team, at first, I would say, the awareness. Most people don't know us, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to listen to this podcast and say, Zoho, what's a Zoho? Who are these guys? So very first awareness. And then secondary now is realization that we probably have some great options for either you or your clients. If you're out there consulting on accounting, you're doing work for clients and consulting and helping people, I guarantee you we've got some stuff that'll either work for you or for your clients. Mm-hmm. So we're a really great option for people to learn more about and consider, because we are the up and coming. What I like to tell people is we are the next generation SaaS. And what I mean by that is we're not a desktop product ported into the cloud. We're not a couple of different products jammed together with some loosey-goosey integration and then connected in the cloud, so that when something goes wrong, you got to contact multiple companies. It's one company. All of our software has been built in-house, all connected, all reviewed, so something goes wrong, it's one company. The other thing that it was really enamoring to me when I was kind of made the offer, like, come join us. I'm like, I don't know that we can work this out. I don't know if I could leave my organization that I helped found, years ago, K2 Enterprises. But one of the arguments that Zoho made to me is they said, Val, do me a favor. The one guy that was talking to me, he said, just for grins and giggles, go out and look up how much money this company has made to date. And he named a very popular top-end SaaS software company. And I was like, I'm sure they've made millions and millions and millions to date. And I went out and looked, they were still actually living off of venture capital money. Then he said, now go out and look at Zoho and I'll show you some financials. From day one, we have made money. He said one of the secrets to that is actually the fact that our backbone, our global network, is our sister company called ManageEngine. And that's another one I'll throw out on the podcast. ManageEngine, I'm going to get in there just for a second. And by the way, it's just the word manageengine.com. So they got two E's in the middle there. But they've been out there longer than we have, to be honest with you. We've been out 27 years. They've been out there approaching like 35 years. They had a little different name for a number of years, but they've been out there. The thing to look at on this site is drop clear down to the bottom and look at the organizations that trust ManageEngine to run their backside backbone. So we don't have an Azure or an AWS or anybody else in our way. We have our own global network, and it's relied on by AT&T, Barclays, Sony, GE. I mean, you can see the logos down there. It's pretty crazy.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, and so it's our sister company. We get family pricing for all this global network stuff, and we only run on ManageEngine. And so security, privacy, pricing, all this stuff, it all falls in line to where I'd say this. We are the next generation of SaaS software. And to be honest with you, nobody is in our way. Mm-hmm. Nobody.
Right.
As we develop and enhance these applications, we will get to where people are aware of us. They're using us. I'm sure we got kinks we got to work out, but given time and playing the long game, and the fact they're not going to ever sell this company to anybody, we're going to win this long game.
Right. So with that, with what you're trying to accomplish in accounting, why should accountants take note? And again, our audience, just as a reminder, QuickBooks Pro advisors, the Zero advisors, small business advisors that are out there, CPAs, tax professionals as well. So they hear Zoho. Why should they spend some time to really dig in and understand what Zoho, that full suite of products, is?
Very good question. I was in public practice 15 years, and most of the time, what I was doing was with technology and clients and implementing. Back in the day, it was Peachtree. We did Great Plains. We did Peachtree. We did open systems. We did SIMA accounting. And I know what that means. When you consider a new product, when you go to add something else, you gotta learn it. You gotta train your people on it.
Right.
You gotta get good on it. And so what I'm telling people here in this podcast to consider Zoho, yeah, it means a time commitment. Now, the good news is most everything in our software, like our finance software, everything else, because you've been running cloud accounting software for years, or even on-premise accounting software for years, the interface isn't going to blow you away. It's going to be very easy for you to pick up and learn and see what we're doing. So I'd say the biggest thing is, because we are that next gen, is somebody to consider and look at, especially as you see other players out there putting more and more pressure on your clients, raising prices, dropping services, and doing things. But I would say that's all helping us. The big thing, though, the big advantage and reason why people should look at Zoho, though, is the fact that we are integrated, one company, one solution, one throat to choke. So as you take a client, especially let's say you get a new client, small client you think is going to scale and grow, that's a perfect one to start on Zoho. And there's probably a lot of people out there in the industry that don't know this, but I'll just share this with you as well. We have a product called Zoho Invoice. It's a very low-end invoicing tool. It's free to any user, any number of users, for life. We don't ever plan on charging for that. And that's one of the smarter moves our company's ever made. Why? It's kind of like a gateway drug. People come in and they use Zoho Invoice free, and they're like, wow, this stuff's easy to use. We like it. We're growing. Where do we go next step once we kind of outgrow Invoice? And that would be right into Zoho Books. Mm-hmm. And away they go. So if you want to go look at something free, you could do that. We are also making an offer to firms, people in public practice, people consulting clients, doing some other things. For the firm and for your own internal use, we will be offering software through different organizations this next little while. So keep your ear to the ground. There's going to be a chance to pick up our newly released practice, Zoho Books, Inventory and Expense, for free for a period of time. We're still working on that, kind of working details out. I can tell you, though, right now, even for your own practice. So let's talk about your own practice right now. Mm-hmm. Consultants that are out there engaged, working with customers, pro advisors, whoever else out there. If you look at Zoho Practice right now, if you just Google Zoho Practice, like go to the website, you'll see that Zoho Practice is actually offered free right now for those in public practice up to 5 users. So small firms,
that's already
right now. That's actually out on the website right now. So that is live and out there now. The whole rest of that bundle is still coming in details to be announced there. But if I go out there, I'm trying to actually find the exact page where it talks about being free. Oh, if you go to pricing, there it is. Yeah. Zoho Practice, go to pricing. It'll say right there, per accounting firm, up to 5 users, free.
And we'll drop that link in the show notes. And
okay, good.
And
good.
on this bottom of the recording as well.
And that's another place to get familiar with this and see what's going on. But I would say we believe, and that's the reason I joined this organization, is I believe we are the next generation to dominate the accounting industry globally, not just US, but globally. We have already pretty much got a hold of a bunch of different countries. And I think our last strongholds are those places where, like in the United States and the United Kingdom and Australia, New Zealand, where there's just been other products that are longer. So give us time. We're going to start getting more attention. And if you haven't seen us out and about and around, you will start seeing more of us doing marketing events and doing places, having a presence at almost every place we can that is involved with bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs, CAs. In Canada, they actually have certified professional bookkeepers, and it's a great organization. And we're in front of them quite a bit as well.
Okay. So have you found, and again, in the 5 years, we'll probably even just go the last 2.5 years, a persona from the accounting perspective who tends to either gravitate towards Zoho or listens to what you're saying and says, that makes a lot of sense. I can see using this for my firm, or I can absolutely see 3 clients using. Is there a particular again persona that seems to get what you're talking about?
Yeah, in the United States, and let's kind of keep this qualified there, United States, Canada, kind of what we've seen.
Okay.
It really is the advisor to the small business area.
Okay.
Generally, pro advisors have been really great advocates coming along.
Okay.
And they've had frustrations from other places, and to look at what we're offering, what we're doing is a bit of a breath of fresh air for them. And they really like our pricing. They really like the product, where it's going, and it fits especially well when you're having a new client start up on finance and stuff, because you don't try to migrate all that data. That's really great. Or if you're willing to keep like one old license from an older product, cut off a time period, do the clean cut thing where you cut off a time period, grab a balance sheet, and then start over new in Zoho Finance. That's another clean, really good way to cut over. Any migration has its challenge and costs. Migrations are not cheap.
Right. Now, what about, are there revenue opportunities for the accounting professionals?
Yes, we share revenues. We share subscription revenues for accounting professionals that become partners. And our partner program is free to join and get going. And we actually, when you do that, when you actually join the partner program, we give you a full license for your firm for Zoho Finance. So that's another way where you can get kind of the whole finance suite free for your firm, so you can play with it, learn it, go with it. If you become part of the partner program.
Okay.
And we are working on that partner program to add other benefits right now, but it's free to join. And then all you got to do is start just doing some work, either consulting with people on Zoho products to give them advice and help, or if you actually want to sell, resell Zoho solutions, that's how you can get into the commission side of that. And they have set it up. They have set up the commission sharing right now on subscriptions from sales and that you would sell to your clients. They've set it up right now on a 4-year plan that is going to change probably in the next few months. And let me just say it this way. The best way for me to say it and not get in trouble here is to say they are going to change it in favor of the Zoho partners, not in favor of Zoho.
Okay. And so is that part of like what you do, like in
Yes.
accounting? Is that part of your group is to try to find people who do want to take on that type of business opportunity, or who are searching for those opportunities? Okay.
Yes, my whole team, we're happy to talk with you, help you get signed up. We're also happy to help you grow your practice. We've had a couple of them that have come through where we've been able to help them get going, give them a few ideas, help them launch some stuff, share what they're doing, like out on LinkedIn or other places, have them on a webcast or, other things like that. And the ones that were very serious about it now, to be honest with you, they don't have time to come back and do a webcast with us. They're too busy getting out there, because to be honest with you, that kind of brings up another reason why people listen to this podcast ought to consider Zoho. Zoho as a company is doing some pretty heavy marketing now in the US over the next few years.
Okay.
And the customers are going to be clamoring for consultants that know Zoho.
Right.
So there's going to be opportunity there.
Okay, great. All right, so we've done a pretty good deep dive on Zoho. Now I'm going to pick your brain as a guy who's been in the profession for a while and just hear what your thoughts are on kind of two different things: opportunities, kind of 24 and beyond, and then challenges. Not necessarily opportunities with Zoho, but just as a profession. Where do you think? What are the top two or three opportunities you see for accounting professionals?
There's a lot of talk in the industry about what's CAS 2.0 or 3.0. Where's the next thing after we've got our clients working really well with financials and write up, and our monthly financials are coming out. We've got great reports and we're meeting all the compliance requirements, and where's the next thing? And I would say it's in two areas. Number one, analytics. I think there's a huge opportunity in analytics. Analytics products are not difficult to learn how to use.
Right.
And clients love it when you go back and learn a little bit about their business, their industry, and look at their data. And I'll tell you where you can really make some big hay is if you can get your hands on benchmarking data and help them understand for their size of their organization, how they stand up to other organizations in that industry and how they're doing. So benchmarking, analytical help off their data to find out, maybe who really are the best customers. Sometimes companies get caught up in this. Well, our best customer is the one that we sell the most to.
Right.
Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe it's the one that doesn't whine the most and take up all the time of your staff. Maybe your staff's spending 70% of their time with that one customer who's whining all the time. And even though they're a big customer, maybe it's time to cut that customer loose.
Yeah,
analytics and other tools could kind of help you look at that. That's a great area for an accountant to say, let's look a little deeper in your business. And that helps enamor a client to you. I would say, and this is not new, but people already know that payroll is a very sticky product, meaning that once you get a client involved with you on payroll, they're very sticky and they don't really want to ever change accountants. And that's very true. Analytics is another area that makes an accountant very, very sticky. So that's one.
Okay.
The other one I'd say of the two, analytics is big, but I would say learn how to do forecasting work. Analytics, you're kind of analyzing the past historical, maybe you're doing a little projection work from that. But forecast work, even back in the day when I was in public practice, we used to actually build for clients a lot of cash flow forecasting and forecasting for businesses. And what's funny is that seems to have kind of gone to the wayside for many businesses, just struggling to keep up with compliance. But for those that are handling all the compliance and now saying, now what? Forecasting is something they're going to pay the bill on really quickly. And the truth is, they know you're not going to get it right, like right out of the box. It's going to take you a while to refine that forecasting model. And let me tell you, they are going to love that. I even had other firms, Gary, coming to us, our firm, and handing me clients to say, build a cash flow forecast for them. We're not really good at this. You guys can do this. For years, I did it in spreadsheets. Mm-hmm. Then for a number of years in the industry, there was a product called Forecaster. It was made by the same group out of Colorado that made that reporter, FRX Reporter and FRX Forecaster. That was a great tool. Sadly, Great Plains bought that. And then when Microsoft bought Great Plains, Microsoft killed that product. To be honest with you, there's actually a need for that product back in the market right now. And so what I'd say to anybody that wants to get into that, what do you do, Val? Pick you a good analytics tool to have in your back pocket as well. But right now, if I was to do this and go out and practice and do this, I'd probably be building these in spreadsheets right now because they're so flexible. And spreadsheets. Look, so you know it. One word of advice as you're doing all that. Actually, I'm like years of advice I could give you here and bore you all day. But make sure you have somebody else reviewing your work to make sure you don't have formula mistakes there. Right. That's really big. If you're working on spreadsheets, make sure you have somebody closely review it. And then another really key one is make sure that the calculations and the projections and things you're coming up with are things that the client is really worried about.
Mm.
I learned that one early on. One of my first forecasts I did. I ended up showing it to a client. He said, it's great, but that's not what I'm worried about.
Right. Here's
You
all the
know?
tech that you could use in your business. Well, I don't care about that. How do I make
Yeah.
money? Right. I mean,
Well, and it's interesting enough, and I'm just going to admit this, young accountant out of college, I had a client. I walk in there and I take a look at his system. We were putting a whole system in for him. And I walked in his office one day and I said, Brent, you guys pay your bills before the ink dries. Most of these are net 30, net 60. You could increase your cash flow if you sit on these bills and not pay these things the minute they come in the door. And I could just see him behind his desk, roll his eyes and go, young accountants. He said, Val, let me tell you something. I've got a bunch of clients that, customers and friends that play that game. And he said, if you get caught in playing that game, you're going to always be fighting cash flow. We pay those bills immediately because it forces me to stay on top of cash. And so forget all this crap you learn in college about net 30,
Right.
net 60, his practical business knowledge of always paying things quickly. I walked out of there so humbled, I can't even tell you.
And it's
So-
like, this is how much money I really have. Right.
Yeah. And this is how you really run a successful business. Guy retired in his 50s and he never had a college education because he was terribly successful. That's the kind of thing. Okay. So let me tell you, cash flow forecasts right now, big, very big, even our big digital world, so that could be something you could really get into.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's look at, so that's a couple of big ones. What about challenges? What do you think the biggest challenges are in the profession over the next year or two?
It's a good question. And you hear a lot about how AI is going to take your job and take compliance. Not a chance.
Right.
I don't know what these people are thinking. First off, let me add a couple things to this. AI is just another tool.
Yep.
We will use AI to improve where it can be used properly, improve how we do things for clients, but not really necessarily who's doing it. People want people to work with them. Last thing in the world people really want is to be dealing with a bot.
Right.
I recently had a horrific support experience with Hewlett Packard, of all things. Can you believe this, Gary?
That's
HP.
fun.
HP has completely fallen off the planet. Bought a brand new, very, very big, expensive monitor. Life didn't go well. I ended up having to deal with a bot. And if you can believe it, this is Hewlett Packard. And I'm dealing with a bot trying to get this thing replaced.
Right.
It's just
And
terrible.
probably not a very good bot.
It
Right.
still hasn't been replaced. Been 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on a replacement to show up. And now
Right.
they admit that the original monitor was flawed. Oh, anyway, don't get me started. So
So if the
here's
bot
the
that
thing.
solved your problems, it wouldn't be a bad thing, right? But
Yeah,
but
well,
it
and they don't because they
didn't,
don't
put you in this
understand.
loop, right?
And they're pre-programmed, sadly enough. And this is on HP. That whole direction, that whole thing, and I felt it coming because I've been in the tech industry for so many years.
Right.
It was routing to the point to where what they were hoping was I would give up. Kind of like the insurance company on claims.
Exactly.
Yeah. HP, hopefully they're listening in on it some way, so they never would be, because they don't care anymore, is what I found out. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a
Which
company I trusted and
unfortunate,
used for years and years on servers, on everything. So anyway, that's a challenge I see in the industry. This nonsense coming out there. The other thing that I think will be a challenge to people that are going to be listening to this type of podcast in this group, there's organizations that are hiring a lot of accountants that are, it's like big company accounting groups
Yeah.
coming in the US. And you've seen them buying up firms. We have seen them buying up practices. I think there's going to be some pressure from foreign countries. I think there's going to be, other pressures. And the way you compete with those challenges is the client relationship. They can't keep the client relationship like you can.
Yeah.
That means everything to a client. Remember what I said about humans want to work with humans? Not only do humans want to work with humans, they want to work with you. They want to work with you because you pay attention to them, you listen to them, you do their books, You consult with them, you give them all this financial advice, but more importantly, you're there for them. That's how you win against these corporate accounting groups, because they're handing off those clients. The client one day may talk to this person, the next day this person. Who knows? Going down the road, it might even be a bot. Heaven forbid.
Right.
But that's how you win against these challenges. And I don't see, from what I have seen, I don't see the bookkeeping profession, the accounting profession, pro advisors, CPAs. I don't see our industry in trouble like some pundits do around there because of that human factor. The people that get it right know how to do customer service and know how to keep that relationship going. They're the ones that are going to be very successful going down the road for years, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. And I would think, just to cap that off, I think if you are, bookkeeper, accounting professional, and you're concerned that you're going to lose your clients because, the corporate accounting firms are, $2 cheaper. That's an exaggeration, but if you're concerned you're going to lose them over pennies, you've got the wrong clients.
Yeah, let them go.
Get better clients. Yeah,
let them
get
go.
better clients.
There's other clients out there.
Yeah, if it's hundreds and thousands, well, then maybe you need to reskill. But
right, reskill and reevaluate.
Yeah.
And I had a guy that was at. Let me just give you a quick story. We had our Zoholics on the East Coast last year. This was last summer sometime, and I was there talking to one guy, and he came up to me after I was doing a session on how to run your practice and what to do. And I was especially talking about, this idea we just mentioned. Every year you need to kind of look at your clients and let go of the real problem children. Yep. There's other good clients out there. You don't need to deal with bad clients. And he came up to me after the session. He said, I feel like somebody has just slapped me in the face. He said, I have 2 clients that are just killing me, dominate my time. And I just realized after you went through that whole drill there that I need to cut these guys loose because of all the unbillable time I spend with these people because they complain and do whatever, you need to evaluate your practice and get rid of the clients that are not worth keeping, because there's plenty of good ones out there for you to go get. I promise you.
Right. Have you heard of Tax Titans? Do you know that group?
I've heard of that, but I'm not sure why I've heard of that. Yeah.
So he's I don't know what his background. I had him on our podcast before.
Yeah.
But, so they basically are, my words, not his. They're a dumping ground for your bad clients.
Oh, wow.
And so basically, kind of what he says is, what he said when we talked about it was, okay, so let's say you've got this client who is no longer a good fit for you. You have that, instead of just saying, bye, Mr. Client, I don't want to deal with you anymore. This Tax Titans is a place to where you can say, hey, you know what, Val, we're going a little bit different direction. We're doubling our fees, so we're probably not a good fit for you anymore. But you could find another great accountant here at this Tax Titans. And he said it's an easier way to have that conversation of cutting loose clients who just aren't a good fit for you anymore. And then you can go there and find accountants to do your work for you.
Great to know. I really appreciate you letting me know that, because I do speak to people all the time about how they really need to cut clients loose, and it's not an easy conversation to have. I've done it before.
Yeah.
So Tax Titan, very good to know that.
Yeah. So all right. So we're gonna wrap it up, but before we do, how do people find you or your team, and then where will we see you out and about face-to-face at events?
Okay, probably the easiest one to share on the thing here right now. It's go zoho.com, zoho.com/CPA. Now look, I had to pick one domain, okay? This is where you can find our team, sign up as a partner, all the stuff. But bookkeepers, CPAs, accountants, everyone's welcome here. If you're doing this kind of work, you're welcome here. You can see a few of our success stories there. You can also find a place you can come down and sign up and get going with our team. We will be at almost every one of the major shows. We're going to be at Scaling New Heights. We're going to be at Firm Growth Forum. We're going to be at Engage. We have our own Zoholics in June. We will also be at some of the bigger state events. Florida has a mega event we'll be at. We'll also be in North Carolina at some of their bigger events. And so you're going to see us. A lot of places. You're probably seeing this more in publications too, as we're going
Okay.
along.
Do you, what about ZeroCon? You guys, will
We're
you look at
not
ZeroCon?
really invited at ZeroCon.
Oh, yeah, I
we
guess not. Right. Just
we
like,
have tried to
right.
sign up for both ZeroCon and QB Connect
Imagine that.
last couple of years, and for some reason I can't figure out quite
No,
why.
not quite sure why.
Not
Yeah, I
quite sure, but
totally forgot about that.
they just don't like to accept our application. So
Right, that's funny. And what about Latino tax? Have you ever been to that?
no, but that's another good one you mentioned there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I've heard there's a few different tax groups that are really good, like some of the enrolled agents conferences
Mm-hmm.
and other
Yeah.
places. And we're looking at all of those. So anything
Okay.
you come up with, let us know. And like I say, it's a broad reach. My team is a broad reach. And so far, and I'll say it this way, the best way for me to say this honestly is so far, they really have pretty much allowed me to spend what I need to spend where I can within reason. I've had a
Sure.
couple of bigger ones that I really wanted to do that were kind of like, that's not quite where we're trying to go. So
Right.
anyway, for the most part, they pretty much let me do it.
Great. All right. Well, we will see you at many of those. I appreciate you taking some time. And again, we'll add that zoho.com/CPA and the Zoho practice. Is it zohopractice.com? Was that the URL?
Oh, for them to find my team?
Or
Zoho.com/CPA.
yeah, but then before you were also mentioning Zoho practice. Like, how do we
Practice,
find?
correct.
Yeah.
And the way to get to Zoho practice, best way is probably Google
Yeah.
Zoho practice.
Yeah.
Let me just see what domain pops up from that straight up.
Yeah, I got zoho.com/practice.
Looks like they put practice right after Zoho.com now.
Perfect.
Yep,
All right,
brand
we'll
new
drop that
release
in
product.
there too.
And
Okay.
can I just say one last thing, Gary?
Absolutely.
Closing to everyone.
Yep, of course.
Good luck to everyone. Look, you find me on LinkedIn, Val Steed. Truth is, you can just Google my name, Val Steed. You're going to find me. My name is very unusual. I am happy to help you with your practice, give you ideas about your practice, help you with the ideas we talked about today, forecasting, cash flow management. Reach out to me. Love to connect with you. Love to help you. I'm not a salesman. We are a marketing team. We're here to help the profession. Along the way, sales happen, and that's how we work. So love to help you.
Fantastic. All right, Val, I appreciate it. It was good catching up, and I'm sure we will see you very soon.
Thanks, Gary. Have a
All
safe
right,
time
thanks.
or
All
safe
right.
day. Talk to
Bye-bye.
you later. Bye.
This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you by Out of the Box Technology. Out of the Box Technology is your partner in accounting data services. With over 7,500 industry migrations performed and an expansive network of third-party integrations, a partnership with Out of the Box will augment your advisory practice and turbocharge client accounting operations. Visit outoftheboxtechnology.com/insightful-accountant to get started.